podcast. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. Welcome to the Bliss Podcast. This audio that you just heard was from the last Bliss Podcast, so if it sounded a little bit familiar, now you know why. Our facilities right now are not working properly, so we had to resort to the previous audio. So here we are once again on Monday, late evening, nighttime for the monks, Monday. And we're getting ready to record. We are now currently recording the Bliss Podcast with a spicy, new, controversial topic. What are we talking about today, Prabhu?
Today we're going to talk about homosexuality and Krishna consciousness and the connection or disconnection or the controversy that arises from discussing the two at the same time.
That sounds like a wombo combo, as they say. So, Hare Krishna. My name is Maitreya Rishidasa, and I'm here with Purja Prabhu, who is the founder of the Bhaktivedanta Lives in Sound Society, and I'm also here with our dear Macintyre Prabhu, who you can't see right now, but you wish you could see. You're very beautiful Gandharvian Prabhu, who's with us. He's now recording this or live streaming this from our Facebook page, which you can go to. Is it Bhaktivedanta Lives in Sound Society, the Facebook page, even though it shows as Expand the Bliss? Okay, it's Expand the Bliss. So Expand the Bliss Facebook page, and you can see our live streams where we regularly live stream the evening worship, kirtan, and also classes. We're doing Isha Upanishad right now. We usually do Isha Upanishad on these evenings, but now for Mondays we do the podcast. So tune in there for regular content in the early morning and evening. So without further ado, let's get into the homosexuality and Krishna consciousness podcast. What is the connection between homosexuality and Krishna consciousness, if there is any, Prabhu?
Well, of course, Krishna consciousness is for everyone. So whether you're gay or not, it doesn't really matter. Everyone can take up Krishna consciousness. But many times people are asking this question. What is actually, just recently, one friend from Gibraltar, Mrs. Lynn. You remember Mrs. Lynn? Yeah. She asked me what do we think about the homosexuality. So, and recently there's been lots of, been lots of media coverage, of the gay rights and so many things, right? And recently, I mean, there's been a lot.
Well, for a long time it's been going on. Yeah, sorry. It's been going on for a long time. The gay rights stuff. I don't know. I remember it going on when I was living back here in England, but when I was a long time ago, when I was not practicing Krishna consciousness, when I was even more of a little child than I am now, I remember this stuff going on. The controversies, the fanatical Christians not letting the gays into their. Oh, they were not making wedding cakes. That was one of the first controversies I remember. You remember this?
I saw this on YouTube.
Yeah, they didn't make a wedding cake for the gay couple. And this was like one of the first significant and then events I remember. And now that must have been around the time when they were also debating whether gay marriage was going to be allowed in the States and in England also. I'm not so up to date or at all factual on this political side of things, so don't use me as a fact checker, but it's been going on for like a decade now, this coverage of the gay rights.
Right. So naturally people are asking this question also, is Hare Krishna homophobic? Are we homophobes? Are we hating the gays like the Christians? And do we pray for their eternal damnation in hell? Our Srila Prabhupada, he said a few things about gay people and homosexuals in general, and it can be very nicely lumped in with that fanatical approach if we're not careful, if we do not understand the context. Maybe I should start giving a little background on what is Krishna consciousness in general. I think this is very important before we get into the details. People sometimes they ask, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? But they don't ask about the purpose of our movement and the philosophy, the essential points. I don't think it is very essential whether we allow homosex or not. I mean, if you ask this and it's the only reason why you take up Krishna consciousness or not take up Krishna consciousness, then you must be really foolish. So anyway, our first teaching is that we are not these bodies. So whether it's a body that is more attracted to the same sex or not, it doesn't really matter, because we're not this body anyway. The body is changing, you remain the same, you're the soul. You might be heterosexual today, next birth you might be homosexual. It doesn't really matter. What matters is that we develop our lost relationship with God, with Krishna. And Krishna is the father of everyone. Everyone, be he an offender or an atheist or a pure devotee, Krishna is the father of everyone. So we as devotees, we should be very liberal and we should see everyone equally and not make such distinctions. At the same time, sex life, whether it's homosex or heterosex, is the cause of our bodily conception of life. You might say that, oh yeah, I'm a soul, I'm not a body. I don't see people as black and white and, gay or non-gay or whatever. But so long we feel sex desire, we are forced or pushed or doomed to identify with the body. Just like the man, he has a sex desire, he's attracted to woman, and a woman is attracted to men, right? Those who are heterosexual, right? If I say that now be attracted to men, it's not very pleasing, right? So why is it not pleasing? Because we identify with the body. But at the same time, the gay people, if they feel attraction for the same sex, that is also identifying with the body. So there's this analogy that can be used in many different ways, that you have the stool, and there are two parts of the stool. One is the dry part, and one is the wet. The wet is at the bottom. So the wet part of the stool is laughing that, you're the dry stool or you the wet stool, and it doesn't really matter. The stool is stool. So similarly, sex life is entanglement, whether it's homosex or heterosex. It doesn't really matter. So this is just a basic outline so people understand that we're not hating the gay people, but at the same time we're not interested in either heterosex or homosex. We want to completely avoid sex altogether and develop our lost relationship with Krishna. Chant Hare Krishna, dance in ecstasy, take prasadam. So devotees are gay, if some devotees, there are many devotees who are gay. It's a fact. Even in Prabhupada's time, there are many gay devotees who came. They should not feel intimidated. They should not feel intimidated. And those who are bullying, those who have a bullying propensity, condemning propensity, they should stop bullying. But at the same time, we should understand that sex life in this way or that way is entanglement, and we should control the sex life. So according to Shastra, if you want to have sex life, then you marry for the purpose of having children. Right? Sex life without children is not going to purify you. It's not going to purify you from the attachment to the body and sex life. So that's why the Shastra recommends that you marry and have children, have kids. And by taking care of the children, you realize what a nonsense this sex life is. You realize you become purified from this attachment. It's kind of like you have pleasure, that's okay, but you must pay. If you don't pay, then you are a thief. And, as thieves, they're going to be punished. Right? Doesn't pay off if you're stealing. So it's like that. So anyway, we should not condemn the gay people. Definitely not. At the same time, we should not indulge in sex life. Make sense?
Makes sense to me. Yeah, I don't have so much to say, but I would say that sex life doesn't really like promiscuity in any way is not important at all. Like, it's just if you're actually serious about spiritual life, you don't have time to worry about whether you're gay or straight or whatever, or advertising to other people whether you're gay, or making it a thing to be known. It doesn't really, your sexual orientation doesn't so much matter, because you should be engaging in Krishna consciousness. You're not the center of attention. I mean, everyone's thinking that they are very important in this world. That's why the the Facebook is there. We're oftentimes criticizing the Facebook on this podcast. It's getting a lot of flack. Mark Zuckerberg is getting a lot of flack. Sorry. But the Facebook is there because it allows you to have your personality, so-called false ego personality, unless you're putting devotional stuff on there, glorified to the max, and people all across the world can know about everything about you, including, for a lot of people, the sexual orientation is a very big part of people's lives. People like identity, so people like to make this known. But in reality, that is completely irrelevant, because reality is that as a little soul, a little part and parcel of Krishna, or God, you're very minute, very insignificant. That's not an insult, it's just a fact. You're a tiny little spark of the Supreme Soul, Krishna. So it's not so much important about your sexual, anything to do with your body at all, or even the self itself. What that's actually important is that you serve Krishna. That is the constitutional position of every living entity, is to serve God in love. God, Krishna, is actually the center. There should only be one Facebook profile in all of the universes. There should just be one Facebook profile, one big Facebook profile called Sri Krishna, and anyone, you can only friend Krishna, and you can only like Krishna's stuff, and you can only share Krishna's stuff. That is reality, because Krishna is God. He's the center. He's the source of everything. He's the control of everything. So there's no room really to care about yourself or advertise yourself. No one is so important. So this obsession with sexual orientation when you get into the... Oh, we have a phone call coming in. Okay. So that's actually like a big... I'm now realizing, how much of a big anxiety that relief that is, because people are actually feeling... oh boy, we have a screamer in the background. If you can hear that, please excuse us. People get in a big anxiety. There's all these campaigns to stop bullying the gays, or bully gays, or just people in anxiety about sex life in general. It's so much a big part of people's lives, and it's also a taboo, and it's always entangling people and causing so much controversy and problems, and the list goes on, really, because it's actually the center of material existence, and material existence is suffering. So if you don't have to care about these things because you're in Krishna consciousness, you realize, actually the stuff to do with the body is not very important. Glorifying Krishna, serving Krishna is actually what's important. Then you're free from these nonsense anxieties about gay or may or straight or whatever. So I think this, that was my point on that. Now I've run out of steam. I'm going to turn it back to you, Prabhu.
In the Shastra, we read about the homosex. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a mention of homosexuality. At the time of creation, Lord Brahma created homosexuals.
Really?
Yeah, well, created. It was there from the very beginning of creation.
Right.
The Brahma's sons, some of them were gay. Some of Brahma's sons were gay. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
And and they wanted to have intercourse with Brahma,
Right, yeah.
with their own father.
I do remember this, yeah.
So yeah, there's no taboo. There's no taboo in Srimad Bhagavatam. Everything is there. So what I find very important and interesting and revealing and essential information to resolve this controversy, whether homosexuality is a perversion or it's natural or it's okay, and so on and so on. The Shastra gives the solution to this, and basically the Bhagavatam describes, and Srila Prabhupada describes, that the homosexual appetite for man, for the same sex, is due to overindulgence in heterosex. This is, I think, wonderful justice, from Krishna. That basically, I would describe it like this: that we have a certain credit. A certain credit is there. So, generally speaking, a man is attracted to a woman, and vice versa. But if he overindulges, if he is, doing too much sex, then that credit is exhausted, and the attraction is no longer there. You exhaust the credit. Actually, that sexual attraction is meant for begetting children. It's by nature arranged like that. You have a certain credit, and in the Bhagavatam also it's mentioned there that there's a special layer, substance covering the genitals, man and woman, that give pleasurable feeling, and if that substance wasn't there, the subtle substance, I don't know the details of it, we would not be attracted to indulge in sex life at all. It's, I would compare it to someone, poking fingers up to your nose. You wouldn't do that. So this is a special arrangement of Krishna and the demigods, that there's a special layer of illusory type of energy, something that creates this pleasurable feeling on the genitals. So when that is used properly for propagation children, I mean, the proper sex life is for the grihastas. They have sex life only for propagation of children. So generally speaking, they would have sex life maybe 1 or 2 times during their life, which is, for people shocking and tragic and bad news and disappointing and horror and so on and so on. But that's a fact. It wouldn't be the topmost priority in a relationship. It would be a special sacred moment in life, and a child would be produced, which is a very mind-blowing thing. Producing a child, it's a beautiful thing. So anyway, so if the couple, if they indulge more, first of all, what it creates, that the man becomes wary of his wife, so he's looking for another women, right? Men have this propensity to always look for other women. This is natural. It's not unnatural. It's natural. Because there also, if you look, there are more women in terms of number. There are more women in the world. So it's a natural for men to have more, how do you say, appetite for more women?
Yeah.
Propensity. And the Vedic culture therefore recommends the polygamy. The man takes care of more wives. This is also natural. It's not sick or perverted. It works. Of course, now how to apply this polygamy, that is a different thing. Prabhupada said we should not do it because the social position is a little different. In Vedic society, we see the greatest example is Krishna himself, who married 16,000 wives. But for every wife, he constructed a big palace, bedecked with jewels. So, if you can do that, then you can marry more wives. If you can supply, jewel bedecked palace for each wife, then go for it.
He was also present with each wife in each palace because he expanded himself into 16,108 or 107 forms, none different from himself. So he could also personally care to each wife, and therefore he wasn't neglecting them. But if you can't expand yourself into different forms, then you can't have so many wives.
Yeah, in Vedic culture there was no divorce. So we can't just pick one thing. Oh, polygamy, many nice girls I can live with. I can be, like Krishna. But I mean, there was no divorce. That's heavy stuff. You have to take care, and if there's a problem, you have to deal with it, not just run away. Oh, divorce, I don't like it, so divorce. So anyway, we kind of turn to the other direction. Yeah.
There's one extra point I wanted to add just before we go off this particular subtopic. That in that we think of polygamy in terms of like a westernized, perverted point of view, where we are thinking of sex life in terms of like a lusty point of view. It's simply for sense gratification. Right. But in the Vedic civilization, actually, it's not about sense gratification. There's no illicit sex. The man why does he have multiple wives? Why is polygamy encouraged? Because it's the responsibility of the man to guide the woman who are not so able in self-realization towards self-realization. The man, by constitution of the material body, he has a more conducive body for self-realization, and the woman, she has a more conducive body for maintaining the material things. She can maintain the children. You want me to hold? No. Oh, okay. Very protective. She wants to. She's good at cooking. She's good at cleaning. She can maintain the children. She's emotional stability for the children and for the man. Also, she gives energy to the man. So she helps the material side of things go on nicely. And the man, he's more apt for self-realization. So he can help the family attain spiritual consciousness. So in the Vedic civilization, because it's not about the man being lusty, having multiple wives is actually a great thing because multiple women can attain self-realization by the grace of one husband. And also, I just wanted to point out also that because you mentioned this funny point about how people would like to be like Krishna and enjoy multiple women I can be with multiple women in my house, but also even in the Vedic, construction of a house, even the house itself is actually set up in such a way that doesn't encourage sense gratification. The man doesn't even see the woman. The woman lives in an inner circle.
At all?
Well, he does see her. He does see her sometimes, but it's more during Christmas and for their occasional sex life. But it's not about. it's not about. Well, okay. So there's the inner circle of the house. Oh boy. So no, you see more often, of course. I wasn't there in Vedic civilization. They had the circle on the inside of the house, and then the woman would be on the inside circle, and the man would live on the outside circle of the house. And so, in this way, there would not be so much room for sense gratification, which is not a good thing, contrary to Western popular opinion.
Yes. So anyway, coming back to homosexuality, if that credit is, if the senses are let loose, if there's no control of the sex impulse, then the man is going to other women, creating disturbance, polluting virgin girls, right? Not taking responsibility, just having sex, then throwing out like that. The contraceptives very much help this, although people think it's a wonderful thing. Actually, it's not. Might be a good thing, to stop the childbirth, right? But anyway. So the sex life is a big topic, because everything is wrong with sex life and the society. And if you just take one thing from what Prabhupada says and you try to understand or you try to make a judgment of the whole Krishna conscious philosophy, then you make a big blunder. It is not like that. It's not that we discriminate against homosexuals or that we are against sex altogether, right? So people have all kinds of wrong ideas. They go from one extreme to the other. So anyway, when that credit is exhausted, the attraction is no longer there, then the person develops homosexual appetite. You see, so from the karmic point of view, those people who have the desire for homosex, they're basically former heterosexuals who took it too far. Took it too far. And those people who are mocking the gay people or discriminating, and they're very proudly having heterosex as much as possible, well, guess what? What's going to happen in your next life? You're going to be gay yourself, and you're going to be also bullied for what you have done. So anyway, on the other hand, there seems to be almost like an agenda to make people homosexual, right?
Very much.
And that is also possible. By association, you can also develop desire like that. I mean, if you associate with people who take drugs, you will take drugs. If you associate with devotees, you're going to become a devotee. So by association also you can develop different type of desires. So nothing is fixed. It is not that you are eternally homosex or eternally heterosex. It's up to you what you want to do, what you want to be. The best is to chant Hare Krishna. And if you cannot control the sex desire, then you marry and have children. And that is the further you can go. If you go beyond that, then you're on your own. There's no Krishna there. I mean, Krishna is there, but you're going backwards. You can't really advance. So, any point on this?
Not really, but yeah, I guess it's like it's like on the topic, but we're not against homosexuals like you've been saying, but Hare Krishna, we're back. I guess I could have just cut this together and made it seem like we didn't have a technical difficulty, but anyway, now I don't know where I was talking or where it cut off. So I think we've now covered enough from our perspective. I was gonna probably say some nonsense there anyway, so very good, it got cut off. Now we're going to cover the comment section, because actually we're live streaming this like I previously mentioned. So now we're going to cover the comments. Some nice people in the comment section are giving their questions and realizations and whatnot. And so on we go.
So we have Bhaktintina here. Bhaktintina is a very nice devotee lady from Germany, North Germany. She's also our supporter, monthly supporter. She's giving €5 every month. Jai, thank you.
Jai.
Thank you so much, Tina. Okay, so she writes, this is very nice because we have a real-time feedback. She writes, the decision who we feel for man, women, man, women is, as you said, completely on the bodily conception, and it has nothing at all to do with the true unconditional love. It is, I feel attracted because you are satisfying my senses. This is the raw truth. Nowadays, when getting old, they take pills to be able to so-called love. What is this? My grandma was not thinking of this nonsense. She was reading nice fairy tales for us kids in her old age and not thinking of this low-level stuff. I don't judge anybody for the sexual orientation, but fact is that it is blocking a development to the higher self. Getting rid of that is liberation. We have the free will to do as we like, and then we have to accept the reaction. And in this case, it means sticking to material life. Hare Krishna. Very nice. Thank you so much, Tina.
I have to comment on this. Okay. Sorry. It's a little cold here in London, so I also have a bit of a cold. Anyway, enough news about Maitreya's rotten material body. Yeah, thank you for the comment, Tina. Yeah, well, that's an interesting point, actually, that even in like recent history, even though we're in the material world, and these are like issues that we've been discussing that are integral to material existence, they're not. It's not like these things are like are not a problem. And another time in the history of material existence, they're always there. Sex life is always creating various problems, but yeah, even in recent history, it's definitely become more perverted. Like even in this generation of people have become more uncultured. I also remember my grandparents, my parents even, like. It was not so, people were not so, at least overtly promiscuous. And, you know, now you go down London, if you go down London Main Street, you see naked woman advertisements everywhere. Naked women also in the streets, naked men in the streets, and all kinds of sex shops. And it's very, like, very in your face. And yeah, very perverted, and there's all kinds of weird kinks that people have due to this overindulgence. And people, actually, there was a psychological study I remember reading in my non-devotee days that it's actually in the psychology that if you indulge too much, it's what's confirmed in the Srimad Bhagavatam, when you indulge too much, especially in the pornography. Because the pornography gives you that access to unlimited, you know, you can just view it all day. You don't have to deal with another person who might get tired. You have a computer, you can do whatever. So, especially the pornography, it makes people very perverted, and it's actually quite likely. First of all, it's very likely that they get tired of the average stuff, so they get more and more perverted, and it's called a kink. So they get into this weird stuff, you know. I don't want to go into the details exactly, but I'm sure everyone can ponder how strange it gets, and then eventually even continue towards homosexuality from heterosexuality. So the culture now, especially with internet, is making this stuff more available. It's becoming quickly more and more degraded, and even now in this age, the sex life is becoming even more problematic than it usually is. So thank you, Bhakti-Tina, for that nice comment.
We have another comment here by Fig. Prabhu, it's an interesting name. We love figs. But my internet is now all kinds of slow. Oh, okay. So he says, Prabhu, what do you mean about the agenda to make people into homosexuals? Well, I'm not so familiar. I don't know so much that people say that this is purposeful propaganda, so people become homosex. I don't know. It's difficult to say, difficult to believe, but I mean there is some reasoning behind it. If everyone is homosex, then everyone is. I don't know. I mean, Prabhupada, he quoted this Marshall's law, economic law. If there's family, there's more economic development. So if people, if the leaders, right, are mostly, the leaders of the world are economically minded, like all these businessmen and corporations, and so I assume they would want people to spend money, so they would encourage family. It doesn't really make sense that they would be encouraging homosexuality.
Well, I was just gonna say that I don't know about the agenda to make people gay, but there's definitely a push. If you look in media, there's definitely a push to how do you say? What's the word? Not assimilate, but what's the word for being? They're trying to make gay mainstream. Thank you. So they're trying to make it mainstream. They're trying to make gay like more normal, I would say, which is like a good idea. People shouldn't be like discriminatory, and obviously for a long time, people have been very discriminatory. I remember in my youth, gay is like it's a derogatory term. You know, if you want to make your friend feel like a rubbish, you call them a gay. You want to say something, Prabhu?
Yeah. On the other hand, I have an first-hand experience from Montreal. We were distributing books in Montreal in the metro with Purujit Prabhu here, and there was a stream of people walking, so I was just talking to everyone, and there were these two boys walking. They were maybe like 13, 14, something like that. Very young boys. His voice was not yet even, how you say, mutated.
He had not gone through puberty.
Yeah, he was like, like that, you know.
Yeah.
So maybe even before that, yeah. So I tried to, push a book on him. And I said, have you heard of meditation or yoga? And he said, or something, asked something about happiness. He said, I'm happy. And I said, what's your secret? And he's very confident. She said, being gay. Okay, so that's kind of like, is so already convinced and decided that he is gay, while he didn't even go yet through the hormonal, completion of the bodily development, and the psyche is just like, he's just like in the molding stage.
Right.
It's not exactly that he's like so sure about it. It was really obviously like a fashion kind of a thing. So on the other hand, there is some kind of a current in the culture to push this. And some friend told me that I would take it with a pinch of salt. I don't know exactly, but in these Scandinavian countries where there is all this gender, like you have to be very careful if you call someone he or she,
with the
you have to be very careful, so you don't offend So they're also like, if you don't have some kind of a homosexual experience, at least some kissing or something, then people look at you already like, what, you were like what, you were a Nazi or what? You didn't kiss a man yet, or you were a weird, you know. So that's what I heard. I don't know if it's true exactly, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Okay, so it is being forced. Okay, I never.
I don't know about the force, but,
Yeah, well, it's more like people are trying to influence it on people more than I was aware. Things are changing. So, I don't know, that's all. That's very interesting points. I have nothing more to mention on this particular subject matter. We're getting kind of close to the time we would usually end the podcast. So, are there any more comments there, Prabhu, on the live stream? Oh, we've lost internet. Okay, well, I think I think I saw his comment, so for the sake of keeping it on the podcast topic, we can read his comment on the live stream after the podcast is done.
Haribol, thank you for all the service you Prabhus do. Mr. Fig Fig is appreciating.
Okay, thank you, Fig Fig Prabhu. I like the name, by the way. Is that the initiated name? So, anyway, I don't think there's anything more to say about the gays. Whether you're gay or you're straight, come and chant Hare Krishna. Please come to the temple, join, serve Srila Prabhupada. It doesn't much matter. The screamer's really going at her now. She's really loud there. I don't think the people on the podcast can hear, but anyway. So, it doesn't matter. You just come and chant Hare Krishna. We're not the body. The sex desire also is not so important.
Just a little anecdote, maybe it's not, I don't know, but we are, let's say, the brahmacharis, you know, the men devotees. Well, they're also gay because we like Krishna. Right?
I was thinking about this point before. Yeah, like how do we deal with this? How do we to new people? You know, it's like people probably think like, what, we're in love with this blue boy and we worship this blue boy, and what's going on there? What do you think about this, Prabhu?
It is not sexual. It is not perverted. It is pure. Pure homosex. To love Krishna, the supreme man. So, yeah. This is very nice. Okay, Prabhus, thank you so much for listening. And if you feel generous, I think we should give some thanks to our supporters who have, because we had lots of supporters and donations lately. Our friends, the Bliss family, is feeling inspired by what we do here in London, and they're expanding the Bliss family as more people. Our friends are inviting other people to join the live streams and see what we do here, preaching Krishna consciousness. Our classes also are generating some interest on Facebook, so this is very good news. If you feel generous, please don't hesitate to send a donation. We are always in anxiety over how to pay the rent. I mean, it sounds a little unprofessional, but that's actually the fact of the matter. We're really struggling. If you have some little euro or a dollar or whatever extra, don't hesitate. We accept any. No donation is small enough, and no donation is big enough. we can utilize everything for Krishna, and it helps us a great deal to maintain our association and go on with preaching Krishna consciousness under the guidance of Srila Prabhupada. So there should be a link in the description. I was just checking, you didn't put the links there on the previous podcasts. There's no links. No, you didn't. No, it's not there. So please put it on this one. And you Prabhus, if you want to donate, we have PayPal, GoFundMe, Patreon, like that. So maybe you can name the hour.
Yeah, I just wanted to also, because I just saw that Fig Prabhu, he just put something kind of interesting in the live stream chat. There's just one more interesting point we didn't really cover. That, according to the Vaishnava philosophy, that the inferior energy of Krishna, all the jivas are female prakriti, because we're enjoyed. Like the woman is the enjoyed in the relationship between a man and a woman. The woman is the enjoyed aspect of the relationship, and that's how she enjoys, by serving the man in that capacity. So actually, all the spirit souls are the enjoyed. God enjoys us, enjoys our service, and that's how we enjoy, because we're part and parcel of Krishna. So actually, male heterosexuals are the real perversion. So that's kind of an interesting point that Fig Prabhu brought up. But anyway, back to the donates. Yeah, you can go to...
If you love anyone else than Krishna, you're a homosexual. If you love anyone else than Krishna, you're actually a lesbian.
Right. Our whole existence is completely perverted. So, the donors, yes. Okay, so thank you very much to Peter Krishna Prabhu, who's been very generous, and he saved Purja Prabhu's hands from freezing off on the cold, on the frigid book distribution. So that was very, very nice. He allowed us to purchase some heated gloves, electrical heated gloves, which I didn't even know existed, but they're very cool technology. So, and they're saving Prabhu's hands. So that was very nice of Peter Krishna to donate enough for us to get those. And also a big thanks to Billy and Hazel. She bought a very nice medical care package. We're all getting a little sick. I don't know, Purja Prabhu is staying aloof somehow. Transcendental personality. He's not getting affected by the sickness. But me and Mac and Prabhu are feeling a little something here, down. Okay, I'm all...
Sick in the body, I'm sick in the mind.
So, yeah, so anyway, there's a nice care package. Ginger, lemons, nice honey, cinnamon. So, wow, very nice. We were able to make some very nice tea, and we'll be able to make some more tea.
Billy also became a Patreon. Patreon. She also became a Patreon.
Billy also became a Patreon, so thank you very much, Billy. You can go to our Patreon, which we're going to link down below. I actually will link it this time. You can go and become a Patreon. Very nice system. You can give just a little bit of your Lakshmi, $5 a month, and you're entitled to some of our ebooks, which are compiled by Purja Prabhu. They're very enlightening ebooks, very nice reads, teachings of Lord Buddha, history of atheism, proof of the Vedas. There's so many nice ebooks, so you can get entitled to all of these, incrementally increasing as you increase your Patreon tiers. Or you can go to GoFundMe and give a one-time or multiple-time donation, whatever floats your boat. Sarup Habel, such a nice devotee. He became our first ever Madhyam level Patreon. Jai Haribol. So the Madhyam level is the middle level. Madhyam Adhikari, even though he is an Uttama. So, the Madhyam entitles you to 2 free ebooks, and it's $25 a month. So it's very nice, very generous donation. So thank you very much to Swaroop Prabhu. And am I missing someone else? Brinda. Also, Brinda. Okay, Brinda also is giving. Very nice. Thank you very much, Brinda. 50. Wow, Jai. Amazing. And Harley David Heiser also. So nice. Also giving regular donations. And he also bought in Isha Upanishads from us. So you also are free to buy a book from us. We can do online book distribution. Even if you can't be here in these terribly cold London streets, you can buy a book online in your home, from the comfort of your home. If you send us an email notifying us which book you would like. That's Harley. He bought a physical book because we distribute physical, hard copy printed books. We have Isha Upanishad and Easy Journey. So you can ask us for one of these and we'll ship them to you. And I think also there was also Claire Louise O'Mara. She also gave a donation. Thank you, Claire. What's up, Peru?
Tina is also donating regularly.
Yeah,
a fiver.
we mentioned the Bhakti Tina. She's on Patreon, so thank you. She's not on Patreon.
No.
Yeah, but she's doing like regular.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think I covered everyone. Please excuse me for my offences if I didn't cover you. And Dusho, of course, our regular monthly donator. Dusho is giving a very auspicious 108.08 donation every month. So generous. So thank you, Dusho Prabhu. And if I did miss anyone, you are in my heart. I'm thanking you from the heart. My dark, cold heart. Whatever space I have in there, I save it for you. Nice donors. So, thank you very much. And thank you for listening to the Bliss Podcast. Jaya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhus.
Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Outro music? Oh.